time for some Power 4 soccer. The Texas Longhorns against the SMU Mustangs. The lineup for the visiting Longhorns under head coach Angela Kelly. This 4-3-3 alignment. Same as the first two games except one spot. You see that right center back position with Abby Allen in it? Well, MJ Cox banged up a knee last time out, and so she moves into the starting lineup there. Justice is an outstanding goalkeeper, and we'll talk about the rest of this lineup as we go. SMU Mustangs also with a 4-3-3 alignment under Nicole Nelson. A few changes in this game, including Liz Eddy starting at the right side forward spot, Salama at the left, and then Truth Byers playing the striker position because Nia Rose has gone on assignment to play for the Canadian U20 national team as part of the U20 Women's World Cup as well. I'm John Little alongside Steve Lansdale and our entire crew. It is a 98-degree start here at 6 p.m. Central Time in Dallas, and there is a wind blowing right to left and a little cross from the far side to the near side across the field today. This is an incredibly high-powered Texas team that gets a lot of shots off, and they score a ton of goals. Turning the corner, Holly Ward leaves Bach in the dust, chips it out in front, but it's played away by Mackenzie Rudden, the 3-year starter for SMU. She had an ankle issue last time out, and so SMU glad to see her out there in tonight's action.
Absolutely. Mackenzie Rudden is one of those players who doesn't always show up a whole lot in that sheet, but Nicole Nelson and her staff wouldn't give up number 8 for anything in the world. She is what they call a box-to-box midfielder. She does so much work in between the 18s in terms of helping Mustangs get and maintain possession, and then working the transition both going forward and helping back on defense. She's a huge part of what SMU does.
As we mentioned off the top, SMU leads the all-time series, and they have never lost against Texas at home. But last year, very poor result for the Mustangs. A beautiful day for the Texas Longhorns as Texas scored a 6-0 win for SMU, but that really doesn't tell the entirety of the story of last year's match in Austin.
Exactly. When we talked to the coaches from both teams leading up to this game, both of them said they're not even looking back at last year's game as part of the preparation for tonight's matchup, because when the Mustangs and Longhorns met last year in Austin, SMU had a player get a red card 2 minutes into the game. So for 88 minutes, you're playing one player short, give up a penalty kick goal a couple minutes in. A little while later, there was another penalty kick. So now SMU is on the road down to playing catch up with one fewer player than your opponent, which is one of the best teams in the country. And it was a game that simply got away from them. It's a hard enough challenge to play catch up when you're at equal strength. But it was a game that was a complete outlier in every way. Both teams basically threw away the video from that one and prepared based on what they have seen so far this year through their first couple of games in preseason camp.
We asked Angela Kelly, the Texas Longhorns head coach, about, differences in the team this year, and she pointed out once more, this is one of only 2 teams in the country at the Division I level with 11 returning starters, and really they had 12 returning starters. More on that in a moment. But it is Texas and it's University of Washington, and that is it. Meanwhile, for the SMU Mustangs, they have some players back off last year's squad, but they've also added a good freshman class to the mix as well. This is Trinity Byers, the all-time leading scorer in Texas history, drifting to the corner, and Paxton Bach plays it into touch.
Yeah, that's a big challenge for Paxton Bach, who is in her 3rd career game going against one of the premier offensive players in the entire country. And she was up to the task on that play, and now we've got, 86 minutes of it to watch.
Holly Ward trying to box out one of the freshmen in Liz Eddy. Plays it down to Byers, turns into the 18, throws it across, and a quick chip is over the top of the goal, and Ashlyn Miller cannot believe she missed a chance to make it 1-0.
Yeah, Ashlyn Miller would love to have that one back, and the reason that play worked was, 1, she got behind a defender, but 2, Sierra Cotillard, the SMU goalkeeper, clearly thought that Trinity Byers was going to pull the trigger on a shot. Because when you scout Texas, you see Trinity Byers shoot an awful lot. And she was in a position to do a shot. So by drawing the goalkeeper toward her, she had a wide open pass to Miller on the far side. And then Miller just got her pitching wedge under it a little bit and floated it over.
SMU still looking for their first consistent possession as Bach goes mid-air and goes head-to-head with a Texas player. Bach has already picked up a foul, and now she knocks with Carly Montgomery. who stepped into a starting lineup role at left center back last season for Texas and started every game. Let's look at it again.
That was one that you could sort of see coming because the ball sort of hung in the air for a while. And I don't know if the two players saw each other. They were clearly staring right at the ball, clearly thought this is my ball to go get out of the air. And when they knocked heads, they both went down. Bach is up. And hopefully, and now you see Montgomery starting to get up as well. I think both benches, both coaches can breathe a sigh of relief over that.
Montgomery, the 5'10 sophomore out of Charlotte, the prestigious Charlotte Soccer Academy, making her 28th career start. Bach also coming to the bench, so both teams will need to make subs after the stoppage. As see, Bach has a little bit of a scratch underneath her right eye. Not sure if it was from that interchange or if that's something she came in with.
And Montgomery also heading to the trainer's table on the UT side. The trainer reaching into the bag and looked for a moment like they were checking a concussion protocol of some kind. But Montgomery actually just looked up into the stands and gave a thumbs up. So I think it's safe to say that we will be seeing number 8 back in the lineup shortly.
Brianna Thompson coming on to play a center back spot for Texas, the junior from not far away, about 20 minutes east in Mesquite. And for the SMU Mustangs, Maura Umel waiting to come on, the 5'3 junior who already has 2 assists, doubling her career assist total over the first 2 games of this season. So on the restart, it appears that Daniel Radward, the referee, is going to give the ball to SMU, but SMU kicks it back to Texas, and now we get back to play as Byers is tripped up in the middle of the field by a promising freshman for SMU in Lydia Ungashik, the freshman out of Overland Park, Kansas. Trinity Byers, she's going to get a lot of attention anytime she's around the ball. 2-time All-American.
We see Montgomery talking to Coach Kelly on the UT bench. Montgomery looks like she's getting ready to come back in the game already, but she does now have a wrap around her head.
A lot of space for Byers, who was looking for that pass to Missimo, Lexi Missimo. According to Top Drawer Soccer, the top player in the NCAA Division I level last season, thanks to her 26-goal, 20-assist season, and coming back for her senior year as well, electing not to go into the pro soccer draft. She is also ranked as the #1 player coming into this season as well. By the way, on that same list, Byers is number 4. Missimo dumps it off. Here's Ward, angling it toward the goal and sails it high.
And you perfectly illustrated the challenge that teams going against us have to deal with this year, just with 2 players. Imagine getting ready to build a game plan to defend against Texas. You see Trinity Byers, who's the leading scorer in the history of the school, and she's not even the highest ranked player on her own team.
And meanwhile, while Byers has the most goals on Texas all time, you've got Lexi Missimo with the second most goals with 46 and the most assists with 51. Long home run ball looking for Nieves. Texas is able to quickly play it away, and this one goes into touch over to SMU. So far, though, we wondered about possession coming into this one, and Texas has had the better run of play so far, and now it's a easy takeaway for Byers. Chips it towards Missimo, and just out in front of her, scrambling to grab it, Cotillard.
Both of these coaches, Angela Kelly and Nicole Nelson, are in that club of coaches that believe very strongly in trying to dominate possession. And so you would think that with Texas being ranked 12th in the country, they would be favored in different aspects of the game, including possession. If SMU can go 50-50 on the possession, I think the Mustangs will be pretty glad pretty happy with the way that performance may work out.
Remember, Texas is moving with a pretty good wind at their tail in this first half, 10 to 15 miles an hour, maybe gusting beyond that as Byers tries to turn on this one. Can't catch up to it. One of the steadiest center backs in the ACC, Mayu Inakawa, takes it away for SMU. SMU with back-to-back wins to start the season, 3-0 over Northwestern State. The win over Texas Southern on Sunday, 6-0. Another deep ball, this time for Byers, who was offside. And both of these teams have been incredibly potent and aggressive early this season. You look at shots per game this year, they're both top 10 in the country. Texas shooting at 30 times a game, and SMU almost 29.
Yeah, and there's a reason these teams are both 2-0. They shoot often and from anywhere, and both teams have a number of players who can find the back of the net. It's easy to look at Trinity Byers and Missimo for Texas, and it's easy to look at Nia Rose and Eliana Salama for SMU, but both teams are much more balanced than just a two-player attack. And to your point, yes, they will pull the trigger from just about anywhere in the offensive third.
Here's Liz Eddy, the first shot by SMU, and it is on goal, gobbled up easily by Mia Justice, who Angela Kelly believes is the best keeper in the college game right now. Justice, who played her first couple years at Florida State, winning a national championship in her freshman season.
Yeah, and Coach Kelly had an interesting comment about Mia Justice. As good as she's been, and she is nothing short of terrific, Angela Kelly pointed out that most goalies don't hit their prime until their mid-20s, upper 20s. Obviously, Mia Justice has goals of a professional career as well. So everything that she is doing to try to perfect her craft and improve her game in her last season in Austin, yes, obviously it's to help the Longhorns win games, but it's also with an eye toward a professional career.
After a talk with trainers and doctors, Paxton Bach has worked her way back onto the field. This as Texas attacks yet again. And here's Missimo inside. Byers so dangerous, and she slots it through. 1-0 Texas.
Such a beautiful shot by Byers. When you think of premier goal scorers, and she obviously is that, you often envision a player who can wind up and crank a shot from 20 yards out. And Trinity Byers absolutely can do that. But in this case, she splits a couple of defenders and gets past Haley Hartman, and then had the presence of mind to simply touch it with the outside of her foot and slip it into the lower right corner. Beautiful shot by Trinity Byers as she adds to her UT goal scoring record.
49th of her career, also the second most for any Division I player that is active. It's Trinity Byers' second goal this season. And Lexi Missimo, the all-time leading assist player in Texas history, who had yet to accord an assist so far this season, has her first of the year. And it's that old Missimo to Trinity Byers combination to put number 12 Texas in the Catbird seat, up 1-0.
You think that call's been made a couple times in their career?
Yeah, just probably about
Byers.
49 or so, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly.
There's Truth Byers, the younger sister of Trinity, playing on the SMU side and gathering her first start as we wait for the restart here. Nicole Nelson talking to her freshman wing, Liz Eddy. And Eddy may get an opportunity here to chat a little bit of strategy with Byers and company.
Now the entire offensive group is getting together as Eliana Salama comes over from the left wing. Sammy Nieves joining the conversation.
And what we're waiting on right now is a confirmation on the goal, making sure that I think there was not supposed to be an offside call there. I didn't see initially. It looked like it was a good goal to me, but during this review period, we will get the confirmation from Daniel Raddard after review. It is a good goal.
It was close, and there was a play a few moments ago where Trinity Byers was called offside, which also was close enough that it was almost surprising that the Longhorns didn't object to that call a little bit more.
And Byers able to get on the board, and Texas leads it 1-0. Can SMU strike back? Remember, it was a 6-0 win last year for the Longhorns. Sammy Nieves plays it out on the wing, and Eddie is wide with some space, chips it toward the goal, and it rolls into touch for a goal kick by Mia Justice.
Just a little bit of a slice on her swing there by Liz Eddy. She had the right idea, but it faded just a bit off the right side of her foot, never made it to the goal.
She was directly shooting into the wind as well, which again is coming
also true
10 to 15 miles an hour out of that far corner. Deep over the top ball and well out of her goal. Cotillard, who just gave up her first goal in an SMU uniform, able to play it up the side to Sophie King, and SMU will have a throw in on the attacking end.
Cotillard did not come off her end line that far once in the first 2 games, partly because the Mustangs had a sizable lead in both of those games, but also because neither of those games presented an opportunity to look up and see Trinity Byers racing in at her. Anything you can do to keep Trinity Byers from getting the ball in the offensive third is probably a good decision.
Oh, really nice ball. Bach looking for it, and she's able to block it at least momentarily, but Lauren Lapamarda kicked it right off of Bach, and Bach, the freshman, took great exception to the 5th-year Prosper High School player. Let's see exactly what happened, not only there, but also in a hold by Lapamarda, which I did not see in the run of play, and then a shoulder charge.
Yeah, there was a little bit of an elbow when they were just turning toward the sideline. And then, as you said, Lapamarda put a shoulder charge into the SMU freshman after the ball was a couple yards out of bounds. So that's where Paxton Bach's objection came.
An SMU throw in, and Bach will have a chance from this near side again, throwing into the wind. So elects to try to keep it on the ground, but throws it right into 2, and Lapamarda is able to easily clear it out toward Byers. That matchup against Peterson, but Peterson is called for a foul here on a hold against Byers.
Yeah, she got into her back a little bit, and I didn't see a grabbing of a fistful of jersey or anything, but she impeded Byers' progress enough that a teammate was able to come in and snatch the ball, but it was that obstruction slowing Byers up on her path to the ball that drew the whistle.
The official scores give the foul to Rudden rather than Hartman. And either way, it is a restart for Texas here as it's played on the ground. And Byers is fouled by Hartman this time, and no doubter there in the feet.
Hartman, you figure, has to be pretty familiar with Byers as well. Hartman started her college career at Oklahoma, which obviously plays Texas every year in everything. Hartman then transferred to LSU before heading to Dallas to play for SMU this season.
And then on top of that, she is the only SMU player who played for Solar SC, the club that Texas has 12 players from, including the incredible duo of Nissimo and Byers and so many others. So the rivalry between Hartman and any number of these Longhorn players, even in practice, goes back a long way. First corner kick coming for SMU, and they like these corners coming from this near side of the field because that's when the sun comes into play.
It does, and it's true that when you serve from the northwest or southwest corner before the sun goes down, the players that you're trying to connect with are staring into the sun, but so is the opposing defense and the opposing goalkeeper. So you're absolutely right. They love taking corners from the west side of the field in these late afternoon, early evening games.
Yep, thank you. And Nakanoa's serve will be going into a little bit of a breeze with the wind blowing out as well. But she's going to play it way out top. Sophie King, left-footed serve to the top of the 6. It's knocked down. Hartman may have a chance, but Lapamarda is there, and then the stab to keep it off the end line by Mia Justice. A great job to scramble for it and prevent another corner.
It's a great job by Justice, but Lapamarda, to be the left outside back, get all the way across the field. Obviously, there's a lot of chaos and congestion when you're defending a corner or a throw-in or any play from the far out on the perimeter like that. But she did a beautiful job to get all the way across the field and snuff out that shot by Hartman.
And the rivalry continues between Paxton Bach, who is introducing herself to these Texas players, and the rest of these Longhorns. She is not afraid to stick her nose in there, quite literally. We've already seen that. And since then, she's picked up a couple fouls as well.
And you might think that Bach, being a freshman, may have played some club ball with some of these players. But Bach is from Arizona. She's not one of these Texas club players who grew up maybe as familiar with all of, certainly not the Solar team that's basically a AAA farm team for the Longhorns.
I would say that is a really good assessment of what Texas has working for them. Solar, long time, coached by Lexi's dad, Derek, who started for University of North Carolina back in the day and scored 56 goals. And then there's a big connection there because while he, just prior to Angela Kelly starring at UNC, he was a star on the men's side of things. Texas loves that they force Hartman into a mistake. But Texas has some deep connections that go back about 30 years when it comes to coming up with all of these talented players that have decided to make their way to Austin. This one pops into the air and Ward tracks it down. Trinity Byers with some space, chipping it in, backside, nice run, but Cotillard is there to take it in before Ashlyn Miller is able to net a goal.
Nice job, nice catch there by Cotillard. And you'd have to think that she saw Miller coming in because she was awfully casual coming off her line to snatch that ball out of the air. And yes, Miller ended up running a couple of steps behind her, but it was probably closer than Nicole Nelson and the SMU coaching staff would have liked.
Eliana Salama with a little half run there. We have not gotten a chance to see number 9 in blue really do her thing yet, but one of the best dribblers in the game. And if she has some space, she can make something happen all at once. And we understand from head coach Nicole Nelson, she'll not only play wing, but probably get some opportunities at a striker spot as this match goes on. Good job by Bach to take it right back from Holly Ward before it is knocked into touch by the holding midfielder Hannah Wesh.
And when you talk about Eliana Salama and others who will be moving around to different spots, that's a reflection of the fact that the Mustangs are much more fluid this year in the offensive third. You've got a bunch of forwards and midfielders who really have the ability to play left side, right side, play up front, drop to the midfield, and it gives Coach Nelson and her staff so much flexibility in the ways in which they can attack opposing defenses.
It was a good defensive play by Lapamarta initially, but Liz Eddy did entice Lapamarta to touch it over the end line. So the second corner on the way for the Mustangs tonight. And again, it's Mayu Inakawa to serve from the corner off to the left of the keeper Justice.
Lapamarta has been really, really noticeable in the first 18 minutes a night. She's had a couple of encounters with Paxton Bach. She snuffed out the Hartman shot a couple of moments ago. She had the play right here. She's had a really nice start.
Inakawa to the top of the 6. That was a great ball, but coming out to snatch at the athletic Justice, and she gets a great distribution out the right side to Jilly Shimkin. Shimkin trying to take it out to the corner before she stops on Nieves.
And Shimkin hit the brakes because she was being run down from behind by Nieves. And keep in mind, Nieves is back in her third game after missing the entire 2023 with an injury.
I'm missing something on the on Nieves. Nieves seems to not have a brace on for this game.
Exactly. I just noticed the same thing. First 2 games of the year, she did wear a brace. Said after the second game that she feels fine, no soreness, et cetera, et cetera. She wouldn't be out there if she were at risk of that, of course. But you're right. This is her first game without the knee brace. Before her injury, she was, without question, one of the fastest players on the team, and it looks like she's regaining that.
Great ball by Nieves up the right side to Eddy. Eddy stopping, though, waiting for some numbers. Eddy dancing on it, chips it across, and it's easily headed out by Abby Allen, the center back, who had two of her two parents played here at SMU basketball. Oh, my goodness, Missimo. the way in, and somehow at the very last moment coming over to save a goal, Lydia Ungashik for SMU makes the play.
How many times do you hear a coach talk about a talented freshman and say, she does this well, she does that well, but I want to see her get back more and help in transition. In 2 of the games so far this year, Lydia Ungashek has made runs of 30, 40, 50 yards to get back on the defensive end and help out the Mustangs back line. Great hustle, great transition defense by Ungashek.
Backline organization was a huge key for Nicole Nelson in tonight's matchup.
Yeah, and it has to be. I mean, it's a huge deal in every game, but as we've said, Texas is obviously an extremely potent offensive team. And if you're going to keep a team like that in check, obviously you're not going to pitch a shutout. You're already down a goal. But if you're going to minimize the Longhorns' chances, you have to communicate really, really clearly and efficiently for a full 90 minutes.
This time, Missimo not able to catch up with it, and safely playing it to the corner. Haley Hartman, who gives it up to Kota Yard to try to start something. It's headed back the other way, however, by Lapamarta, who has been pretty much everywhere for Texas, especially on this near half of the field. So far, the goal came in the early 10th minute by Texas's Trinity Byers, her 2nd of the season, 49th of her career. Primary assist to Lexi Missimo, and a secondary assist as well by Madison Haugen. Again, that was early in the 10th minute. It stood up so far for the Texas Longhorns, who are looking to make it to 3-0 early this season. Inakawa trying to go all the way across the field. A tough serve, knocked down, and maybe a chance for Holly Ward as she is able to strip it away from Bach. Ward diving to the inside, sees Byers, but not able to feed her as Hartman cuts it off.
People viewing at home may have heard a few people in the crowd looking for a handball call on Ward as she jumped up in front of that and knocked it down, and it did hit her in the right arm, but it clearly was just, that's where her arm happened to be. The ball hit her. She didn't reach out and grab it. So the correct non-call.
So far, shots officially 4-0 in favor of Texas. And SMU with more fouls, 5-1. SMU has the break in corners, 2-0. Lapamarta down to down to Shimkin. Takes a look inside. Now dancing left, Missimo throwing on the brakes onto her right foot all the way across. Ashlyn Miller has a lot of space in the corner of the 18. Dancing in, stepping in, knocked down. And a save for Sierra Cotillard.
Nice save by Cotillard, in part because she knew there wasn't a white jersey within shouting distance to pounce on a rebound. So rather than catching it, a very hard shot from close range, she gets her hands up, simply knocks it down so it's a more controllable ball, and then calmly grab the rebound.
How much attention does Lexi Missimo attract, though, when she's inside the box with the ball?
Oh, I mean, SMU tonight and teams that Texas faces all year will collapse around her because, as you pointed out, for so many of her own goals, obviously, but also Byers' goals, they start with Missimo. She's the quarterback of that offense. And if I'm coaching against Texas, I'm double teaming her coming out of the locker room.
And it is interesting to see what strategies each team plays against Missimo. Obviously, SMU not choosing to man mark number 10. Meanwhile, SMU with a clean strip. Liz Eddy down toward Truth Byers. Slid away, however, by Montgomery. Not a full clearance. And finally, a foul is called on Texas. It goes on one of the best players in the country, Lexi Missimo.
And really, that was a result of, again, the attention when the ball came back out. Missimo goes after it, and 2 Mustangs tried to collapse on it as well. So she may have ended up being called for a foul simply because of the attention she draws.
Both holding mids.
Even in the defensive end.
So SMU gets a restart, a free kick from about 33 yards out. Just to the right of the goal, to the left of the keeper. Inakawa plays it out, and Sophie King with the chance on the ground, but it's intercepted by Texas, and the Longhorns try to break the other way. But Shimkin's pass is knocked away by Sophie King to stop the advancement.
And it's a good thing that that King was there, because Hannah Wash was over there on the right side, and had that ball gotten through King, there was miles of open green grass in front of her.
On a 98-degree night, we are probably due a hydration break fairly quickly here in Dallas, but not before we see substitutions on either side. For the Texas Longhorns, it's number 44, one of the best freshmen in the nation, in Amalia Villarreal. And we'll get a chance to see her debut in a moment after the hydration break that we were calling for. Number 12, Texas, on the strength of a Trinity Byers goal. Up on SMU, 1-0.
Wouldn't it be nice,
excuse me,
if nothing stood in your way?
Representative.
Command unclear. Goodbye.
Yeah, if you're coaching against this team, that may look a little bit like a bit of an embarrassment of riches. But, you know, you get half the solar team up there for starters as your foundation. And look, UT recruits exceptional players from across the country. And Byers and Missimo are as good as it gets.
SMU has started to find a couple chances, no official shots, no shots on goal for the Mustangs. However, they have started to find some things, trying to advance the ball down the field with long passes rather than connection through possession in this first half.
Yeah, they've been a little more patient, and I think that's to be expected. When you come out and you're facing a nationally ranked team and you got a couple of freshmen in your lineup, it's easy to sort of dig your heels in and just brace for what's coming. But it's just like any other game where once you get that first bump, your first hit, you run past somebody, you take your first shot, then you just sort of settle in and play. And that's where the Mustangs seem to be now.
Emma Alvord, the sophomore from Denton, is in for the first time for Liz Eddy. Get a look at Alvord there. It's a track start in her own right. Lou Brousseau came in to the midfield for Mackenzie Rutten, and also Sammy Nieves was lifted as well in midfield for SMU. Good job by Sophie King to step on that one, but Trinity Byers, Truth Byers was just offside. She started to go after that long ball.
You know, and I didn't see any of the SMU coach objecting, but that was such a long pass. I'd be interested in going back and seeing it again, because when the ball was played, I wonder if Truth Byers was in an offside position.
Under 20 minutes to play in the opening half. The SMU Mustangs, this is the first of 9 straight games at home to start the season, and that's juxtaposed against only 6 total home games a season ago. And similarly for Texas, this is their only road game of their first 10 matches of the season. They don't go back on the road until late September.
Good way to build your record. Play where you're comfortable. Sleep in your own bed. Eat your own food. Play in front of your fans.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But SMU brings one of the tougher opponents that they have had in Dallas in quite a long time. But they will play plenty more prestigious opponents at home, including the defending national champs, including the #1 team in the country in Florida State here at home. When you go into the ACC in college soccer, the women's side, the men's side, you are going to run through the literal gauntlet.
Yeah, and both of these teams have taken a step up in conference. Texas also leaving the Big 12, going to the SEC this year. I think it's safe to say the SEC and the ACC are the 2 best conferences in the country as far as women's soccer. So both of these teams are going to face a gauntlet of heavyweight opponents this year.
Rousseau had some space. It got knocked back to her. Missimo trying to play it up to Byers, who is attracting 2. Missimo able to spring Shimkin, who goes up the wall to Villarreal inside the box, and it gets knocked up in the air by King and out to the near side, and a clearance by SMU. But Villarreal, even though she's only 5'2", known as one of the best players in the nation as she was coming out of Lansing, Michigan.
Yeah, every night when you talk about recruiting, a lot of people get drawn into comparisons of who's a little bigger or who's a step faster. But sometimes you just play, and Villarreal is a terrific player.
And for Texas, You know, they list her as a forward. Right now, she's in an attacking mid spot, and they move Nissimo over to the right wing, and they shift another player over to the left. And, you know, Texas, it's not only that they're so good, but they can attack you from many different directions. And we've already seen the Longhorns attack in many ways. Vertically, they haven't been able to hit, but a little slot through ball by Nissimo to Byers inside the box got the job done too.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to switch fields a lot and try to stretch out the Texas defense to create some gaps they can pass through and run through in order to get shots.
Salama trying for one of those patented runs, cutting in left angle, and she is denied by a couple Longhorns. Still no official shots for the SMU Mustangs. And for the Texas Longhorns, they are facing a team with a lot of impact freshmen entering tonight. You got Liz Eddy with a couple goals. Ungashik and Bach have played big defensive roles for this team. You got Paul and Gordon already on the score sheet as well in the first 2 games of this season. This is a talented freshman class for SMU.
It is. It is. And again, to your point, look, they're only 2 games in. But a lot of coaches, a lot of teams can bring in talented players who don't adjust and produce right away. And the SMU Mustangs have several who have produced early.
Another goal for Byers. That started with Villarreal, a little backdoor ball that came inside to Jilly Shimkin, and as she saves it off the line and pops it into the air, it was right on the doorstep for Trinity Byers, and it's half 100 for one of the best players in women's college soccer history.
Nice patience by not getting than that. She was inches outside the cage.
An absolute dunk for Trinity Byers. Her 3rd of the season, her first brace this year, the 50th of her career as she becomes the first Texas Longhorn to score 50 in a career.
And again, she has almost a full season still to play. That number's going up, and it might go up a lot.
Get one more look at it. SMU is wanting a review here. That first pass by Villarreal to Shimkin was Shimkin.
Haley Hartman, who was a step behind King even, that gave Shimkin just a hair more room before in order to stay onside and deliver that beautiful pass to Byers.
And that's a really good catch. He's Steve Lansdale. I'm John Little. Both of the Texas goals have been reviewed, but both have been upheld as SMU brings in one of those freshmen we talked about, Kelly Gordon, the freshman out of Asheville, North Carolina, comes on to play a left wing position for the Mustangs as Truth Byers, who has seen her sister, Trinity, score twice tonight on the other side for Texas, takes a seat for the first time. Emma Alvord pops it into the air off the header, and easily played by Mia Justice. And again, if you're just joining us, there is a bit of a wind blowing in Texas's favor this half. SMU will have the wind in the second half, and the sun really won't go down until the very end of the game, so the wind won't come down by much until in between games. This is a doubleheader. The SMU men open up their regular season taking on Air Force at 8:30 Central Time tonight, a match you can also see right here on ACC Network Extra. SMU on the men's side, the number 10 team in the nation after a Sweet 16 run a year ago. Slide tackle made by Carly Montgomery on Salama. SMU trying to strike back here. Emma Alvord with the left-footed serve to the top. Brousseau plays it with a hand.
Yeah, she was in a great position, but it shines a light on what we were talking about earlier. She had a little bit of space right there at the arc at the top of the 18 where she could have chested it down and maybe gotten a shot away. But again, she is staring right into that sun behind the bleachers on the west side of Washburn Stadium here. And she very well may have lost that ball just a little bit and ended up getting called for a handball.
Stepping through players on a run, Villarreal again. And on this deep offering, It's taken easily by Cotillard. Looked like there were other options there too, but trying to surprise Cotillard, maybe looking back into the sun a bit.
Yeah, and Cotillard was 8 or 10 yards off her line, and I wonder if Villarreal was trying to catch her napping almost. And you know, with Cotillard being in sort of that no man's land, trying to chip it up and over her, wasn't quite able to get enough under it.
A little double deflection as the ball is chased out to the corner by SMU. However, right back into Texas's possession, trying to advance this 2-0 lead. There's Missimo. And as Missimo tries to get it back after the heavy first touch, she's called for the foul.
Yeah, Missimo draws a lot of attention, but she also is not afraid to hand out a little punishment as well. Nothing egregious there, of course, but she plays a physical brand.
Missimo playing back at home, along with so many of these players for Texas. So many are from this area and played on that Solar Soccer Club under Missimo's dad, Derek, who was the head coach there up until a couple years ago. Little roll up on the back of the legs by Villarreal, and the spiteful freshman has her first foul.
Yeah, she rolled up in part because she reached up and grabbed Mora Yumel's shoulder and pulled her back.
Salama, great ball, and the header by Ungashik off the ground and just wide. Eliana Salama drove it through, and Ungashik says that was darn near perfect.
Yeah, it was a beautiful serve by Salama. Nice job by Ungashik in two ways. One, looking into the sun and still able to get ahead on it. And two, knocking it down, trying to bounce it past Justice when so many people in that position might try to go to the upper corner. Great idea by Ungashik off the beautiful pass by Salama, just a little bit wide.
As long as this one's close, Salama might play the entire evening. She has been that good over the course of this season and over the course of this game, and gives SMU great scoring opportunities. Under 12 minutes to play in the opening half.
She gives great opportunities, but she's also...
Byers hunting the first half hat trick, and she's got it. Trinity Byers with a chance to play in front of what she feels is a home crowd. The Richardson native puts Texas up 3-0.
You can hear the UT fans around us. As you mentioned, there's about a dozen Texas players, including Byers, who are from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then also, University of Texas just has a load of alumni in the Dallas-Fort Worth area as well. So for Trinity Byers, she couldn't write a better script for a homecoming.
Fourth goal this season, but the Hattie tonight, and up to 51 goals in the career of the great Trinity Byers. Could not have asked for a better start tonight on the road for Texas soccer.
Her first one was a beautiful shot. Her second one was a header from about a foot outside the net. And then the third one, showing she scores in all sorts of ways. She pounces on a giveaway in the back end by the Mustang defense. And if you give her chances, extra chances, she's going to make you pay.
And Byers, she's looking for 4. She sprung onside 1v2 and just could not hold it. But it's like one of those players that is just in the zone, and Trinity Byers is as locked in as any player in America right now.
She's one. First of all, she can score from just about anywhere. But secondly, you're right. When you have a game like this, every now and then you hear a basketball player get on a hot streak and talk about how, gee, it felt like I couldn't miss. You got to think that's about how Trinity Byers feels right now.
Trinity Byers with 3 goals already for the Texas Longhorns to give her 51 for her career as she leapfrogs into first in active goals as well. And for the Texas Longhorns, they just continue to dominate opponents, the number 12 team in the country early on this season. And it's kind of shocked that they started the season as low as they did in the rankings, but they went up by 5 after the first week. Remember, this is a team that has everybody back. a Sweet 16 team that just ran into the best team in the nation in the third round of the NCAA tournament last year. You know, you shrug your shoulders and go, what are you going to do against Florida State?
There are times when a poll at the beginning of the year is almost like just changing the date at the top of last year's poll. And maybe that was the case for some of the voters. And I'm with you. I think they're underranked right now. This is an exceptional team, and they have started the season on fire.
Substitution for Texas. It's the sophomore Avery Clark out of Central Tennessee, Brentwood. She is on for the first time in the first half. 9 minutes remaining in the opening 45. 3-0 Texas, 3-0 Trinity Byers. A lot of Trinity Byers fans, a lot of Byers family fans in the stands. For joining us late, Truth Byers starts at the 9 spot for the SMU Mustangs tonight. Out wide, a drive, lilting into the box, but read well by the 5'11" Sierra Cotillard to take a chance away from Madison Haugen.
And then a quick outlet pass, Cotillard with a nice arm that really allows the Mustangs to sort of start a fast break based on her arm.
And eventually, it finds its way out to Emma Alvord, but well offside by a good 3 or 4 steps was Kelly Gordon, who was antsy to try to get in alone against Mia Justice.
I was looking down at the side judge here, waiting for that flag to go up, thinking there's no way she missed that.
Just thought everybody else saw it too. You see Salama playing the 9 now for SMU. They talked about maybe doing some pressing in this match. They haven't done a lot. Now you get the sense that the Mustangs would love to make it to the half in a 3-0 spot, regroup and come back out with some fervor and the wind in the second half. Maura Umel gets stepped on, and then some hand fighting as well, especially on the side of Chloe Shimkin, the freshman from IMG Academy.
Yeah, Shimkin took a little bit of a swat at Umel, and then Umel just looked at her and laughed.
Umel over the top. Salama able to head it down, but cleared away easily by Haugen, and then running onto it. Here comes Avery Clark. Clark wings it out wide. A chance for Texas again. Slotting it back inside. The one-timer is in. And this time Trinity Byers distributes. And Avery Clark has her second goal of the season and makes it 4-0 Longhorns.
Part of what makes Trinity Byers such a great passer is the fact that she's such a great scorer. And when she gets the ball in the offensive third, every defensive player has to assume, number 15 is going to pull the trigger and shoot again. And by doing so, as defenders creep over in her direction, that opens up space around her teammates, and she fed a beautiful pass.
Avery Clark, who also had the game-winning goal, the opening goal coming off the bench last time out against Bakersfield. This will probably not be a game winner, but it does make it 4-0 Texas as Trinity Byers shows off her incredible distribution skills as well, playing a wing in that case with Avery Clark at the target position. We alluded to it earlier, the ways that these Texas players can play off of one another in almost any offensive position, especially those front four, and they showed it off there as Maura Umel comes up with the theft. Umel trying to keep possession, however, but with 5 players out in front and distracted by that, she has it taken away by Shimkin, who is able to do a nice step on the ball and reverse field to keep it in Longhorn possession.
Yeah, Umel did the right thing, trying to pull back and keep possession, because like you said, 5 white jerseys staring her in the face, and there wasn't a blue jersey around for help. She needed to just peel away and live to fight another day.
Rosa Maloof coming on for the first time for Texas, the 5'7" freshman out of Canada from Ottawa. She's been a teammate of Nia Rose's on the CONCACAF 2023 Canada U20 team. And she was also the CONCACAF Golden Boot winner back in her U17 season. Maloof is on for the first time. Of course, Nia Rose, who wears number 19 for the SMU Mustangs, scored a goal in each of the first 2 games. Part of the Hermann Trophy watch list early this season after an 11-goal freshman campaign. She is off with her Canadian under-20 team and will be part of the Women's World Cup in the next week. They open up pool play a week from Saturday.
It's really a double benefit to have Nia Rose play with that under-20 team. Obviously, the Mustangs miss her when she's not in the lineup, but she gets to go represent her country, and just the experiences and the coaching and development that you get. She gets the treat of representing her nation, and when she comes back, she'll be a better player helping the Mustangs when she returns to the lineup.
This ball slotted right up the middle, but away from the on-rushing Kelly Gordon, and able to play it into space was Madison Haugen. Haugen has shifted over to more of a center back spot here. At least the field is flooded that way at this point as SMU loses it over the goal line. 4.5 to play in the opening half. It has been the Trinity Byers show so far. She has been involved in each one of the Texas goals, scoring the first 3 for the hat trick, and then coming up with the assist on the goal by Texas's Avery Clark to make it 4-0.
If you're Angela Clark, or Angela Kelly, what do you ask her to do for an encore in the second half? What you're asking her to do right now is take a seat and rest.
And understandably, a huge round of applause for Trinity Byers as Ariana Brothers is on for the first time for Texas. And this team goes deep and just starting to find out what these younger players can do. Ball cleared away from Maloof for a throw-in for Texas. It's been a tough night for that back line of SMU, but Texas scores have just been at another level so far in this match. Maloof drives it across, headed down. Maura Hummel clears it up the field. Only one of her blue-shirted players in the area. Now Texas will try to draw some possession late in the first half. Brousseau going right up the slot and just missing a rushing Kelly Gordon. But SMU right back on it, and Emma Alvord sprung on the right side. Alvord with that chip, maybe deflected. No, it's not.
It sure looked like it was. Not only did I think the ball changed direction, it looked like the spin of the ball changed.
Maybe so, but tough to tell into a wind that is increasing in speed as we go on throughout the evening.
And they rarely ask our opinions on those things.
I haven't asked them. They haven't asked once. I would say that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Another nice through ball, this time an overlapping run for Nanami Hata. Plays it back for Salama. She is tripped up in the box and no call given. And SMU hates it as writhing in pain is Eliana Salama, one of the more dangerous offensive players for SMU. She was tripped up within the 18, and there will be a review of this play.
I wonder if she got her foot or ankle stepped on here.
And was it in the 18? It was right at the top of the 18, and maybe that's why going in an aggressive play for Hannah Wesch.
Salama gets up, still limping a little bit. As you see the official going to check the replay. So the pass goes just outside the top of the 18. There's contact there between the shoulders. And there was definite contact with Salama's right foot. And to your point, it was right on that 18-yard line. I don't think she got stepped on. I think it was probably, inadvertent contact. And if you're SMU, you're thrilled to see Salama up, having a drink of water, and looks like she's going to be okay. But there's the plant foot on the 18, and then she brings her left foot forward. Right on top of the 18 is where the contact comes. And part of it can be whether that right elbow by Hannah Wesh comes up and shoves Salama, and if so, are you going to call a whistle? Are you going to
SMU when it comes to the move into the ACC and the ACC Digital Network? Angles galore. What did Mr. Radrick find? There is a foul on the play. It is just outside the area and a free kick for SMU. So it's good news, bad news for the ladies in blue.
And it was inches outside that box.
That close to the first penalty kick opportunity of the season for SMU. Instead, you see how close it is. As that white mark is put less than a yard outside the 18. Wow.
A couple of former JUCO teammates lining up to decide who's going to take this, whether it's Mayu Inakawa or Lou Brousseau.
What's the challenge, even for the offensive team, of a free kick this close in?
Well, it is actually probably a little more difficult than if it were a few yards further back, because if you don't put this in the goal, there's a lot of bodies in front of Justice to try to clear it away.
Brousseau trying to put it in the goal, and she does with a beautiful left-footed drive. Justice is beaten for the first time this season. Clean sheet no more. 4-1.
Beautiful, beautiful shot by Brousseau. And I think you could see that coming as the left-footed option between the two of them, her and Inakawa. And she was able to curl that up and over the left side of the wall. And I don't know if there's a goalkeeper in America that would have reached that. Absolutely a perfect shot. And boy, if the Mustangs could have... What an absolutely perfect end to the first half. They desperately needed that to try to get a little juice of life into them going into the second half.
Lou Brousseau's first goal as an SMU Mustang. She scored plenty, 19 goals in 2 years in her time at Iowa Western Community College, where she was a first-team All-American and won back-to-back Division I national championships at the JUCO level. Now SMU with a possession in the attacking third. Salama slotting it back door, finds Alvord. She's onside, plays it up top, and the nick of the ball gets through to Brousseau, and Sophie King actually runs onto it, and it's going to fire right back to Brousseau again, this time going with the right foot, looking back door for Alvord, and on that back post, she is not able to run this one down off the end line and keep SMU on the attack with a minute left in the opening half.
You don't often see a pass that Emma Alvord can't track down, but I think that was due in part to the fact that there just wasn't much real estate behind her, and she was leaning forward toward the center of the field when the ball started drifting, so she had to stop her momentum and change direction. Just ran out, needed another step or two in order to pull that back in.
Inakawa cuts it off and plays it back to Cotillard. 35 seconds left in the opening half, and a 4-1 lead for Texas. Trinity Byers with the first half hat trick, the natural hat trick, if you will. Her 5th career hat trick already. A Texas record. 51 goals for her career. Maloof back on the right foot, attracting attention by Brousseau. 10 seconds left in the half. Wesh leans, plays it into space. There's not going to be enough time for Thompson to do much with this except drive it to the top of the 18 in the direction of Missimo, and that's the end of the first half. But it's exactly the type of homecoming that Trinity Byers and the Texas Longhorns wanted, playing just 15 minutes away from where she grew up. One of the best players in the country. Puts up 3 goals and an assist and has number 12 Texas in front of SMU 4-1 at the half.
Trinity Byers and this Texas offense every bit as good as advertised. Tonight is their best challenge of the season so far. 3 games.
These players to not only not miss but be as dominant as they have been for the last 4 to 5 years is exceptional.
It is. I mean, pretty much everything they've done in Austin is exceptional. And I think part of their success is can be traced to their longtime friendship. It would be worth raising a question about whether Missimo looks at Byers and says, okay, you're now 5 or 6 goals ahead of me in career goals. I'm going to start pulling the trigger from all over the field. But they play so well together. And when you watch one of them score, seeing the way the other one responds and celebrates, I don't think there's a competition between the two, certainly no jealousy between the two, because obviously their only goal is to win games. And with those two on the field, Texas has a really good chance to win a lot of games.
They've been playing side by side for 15 years now, since 2009. When you take it back to the Solar SC days for those two. And, you know, this may be the last chance that they have on a team, you know, where you're shoulder to shoulder with those players, training with them year round. Sure, they may play on some all-star teams together. They may have a chance at national glory together down the line. But as far as to play year in and year out next to each other, this is their last chance, and they decided to come back in January, and it's paying dividends so far.
And as soon as you raise the idea of their last season together, the first thing I thought was which or can both eventually get to a national team, because they're both the caliber of player that deserve consideration. Yes, the competition is the highest in the world at that level, but they are two absolutely immensely talented players. And I think if you're one of the coaches in the national team program, I think it's worth considering taking both, simply because they play so ridiculously well together.
I think that's an excellent point, and one that I hadn't really thought of before. You do want to judge each individual player on their own merits. However, you know, when you've got players that are of equal value, maybe that breaks a tie, perhaps.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Of course they get judged on their individual merits. And look, there are a lot of players who are worthy of consideration, and there are some very, very good players out there who never make it because the competition is so stiff. But if you have a player who has spent a lifetime working in perfect harmony with another equally elite player, that's a case where oftentimes the two are better than the sum of their parts. As a two-headed weapon, they are even better than the two of them are individually.
Missimo is the one that takes the free kicks, including this corner. See, she's still staring into the sun. Missimo went to the top of the 6, a header right back toward her, and she'll just get another opportunity with the wind slightly behind her here. And this time she wants to play it on the ground over to Shimkin and get a return. Nieves really shadowing hard against one of the best players in the country. Dumps it back to Lapamarta, who showed her presence from the fullback spot in the first half.
I think if you're the SMU coaches, obviously the score is not what you would like it to be at the moment. But when you start to evaluate this game, and you know, we don't know how this is going to end with 42 minutes left, but I think you have to be pretty excited if Sammy Nieves can play most or all of the night without that knee brace for the first time. I think that marks a significant milestone in her recovery from a serious injury that cost her the entire 2023 season.
That is definitely something to watch for SMU. Another thing that the Mustangs want to watch is, can they figure out a way against this top 11 for Texas to put another goal on the board and perhaps make Texas sweat just a little bit. It was 4-0 before SMU finally got on the board on the Lou Brousseau free kick from just outside the 18. One change on the back line for SMU in the second half. Abby Hampton is now in to play the right center back position. Haley Hartman started in the first half. There's a good ball for Liz Eddy. Eddy finds some space, decides to drive it herself, and right on goal, Mia Justice had her played perfectly.
Nice shot by Eddy. She gave it a really good ride, but she did so from about 35 yards out, giving an elite keeper like Mia Justice more than enough time to take about a half a step, crouch down, and just swallow it up cleanly for the Longhorns.
Looking for a long ball. Again, it's Eddy behind the defense, but she was a step offside out in front of Lapamarta's last line of defense.
Another call that was very, very close when the ball was played. You don't see Eddy, saying anything to the side judge who raised the flag, but it was awfully close. Honestly, I thought she was onside and had gotten away after the ball was played, but we don't have the field level view.
Driving in Holly Ward. Ward with a heroic run of her own, and it ends up in the third corner of the first half here. Well, the second half, I should say, and now the call has been made that it was actually off of Holly Ward last. And SMU gets the restart, but Holly Ward really going hard after goal on that run.
She was escorted all the way through that offensive third, and then after battling side by side for the ball, then she ran into Abby Hampton at the back end. Ward got up asking for a whistle, thinking that she had her jersey yanked and therefore her pulled off balance, but didn't get it for the Longhorns.
SMU taking some chances with the press, and Texas is in behind it. It's Ashlyn Miller playing it across, and here's Missimo in the middle of the field. She has options. Dumps it out to Shimkin. Cutting in on the wing. Salama cuts her off from behind, and Salama able to get Shimkin off balance, steal it away, and try to slot a ball right through, but Montgomery is in between.
Ever since about midway through the first half, the Mustangs have been trying to play more direct vertical balls through the defense, through the Texas defense, rather than switching fields side to side. It looks like they have seen some gaps that they think they can exploit, whether it's sending the ball over the top or even on the ground between a couple of defenders, and allow their forwards, who have a lot of speed up front, to try to run onto some of those balls. It hasn't paid off yet, but that's what they've been trying to do lately.
Ball in the direction of Byers, who already has a hat trick. She's never had a 4-goal game at Texas, but that first half hat trick has number 15 thinking about another one. And for the SMU Mustangs, they make a change in goal for the second half, similar to what they did last time out in the game against Texas Southern. They bring Aubrey Brown off the bench, the 5'10" sophomore from Irving here in the Dallas area. Played for FC Dallas at the club level. She did not face a shot in the matchup against Texas Southern, but Brown is in there to play the second 45 minutes after Sierra Cotillard opened up this game and gave up 4 goals.
And in a way, it's maybe a better position for Brown to come in. You come into a tie game, it can be very nerve-wracking. But to come in, you're down 3 goals. Obviously, you want to do everything in your power to not give up any. But I would think the pressure feels a little differently simply because you're at a much different starting point.
Missimo trying to hit Trinity Byers, and she does, but she dumps it back for Miller. Tried to chip it in, but it comes up short. Half clearance for SMU, but possession for the Longhorns. They've had an estimated 70% of the ball today. They've got 4 of the 5 goals. Here's Missimo working her way back into the shadows in the middle of the field. Inakawa dispossesses Byers, but Missimo, a long drive hitting the shoulder of Mackenzie Rudden, and Maura Hummel tracks it down for SMU.
You mentioned Mackenzie Rudden in the first half. Took a bit of an ankle the last time out for the Mustangs, and obviously they were very hopeful that she would be able to return tonight, and she played about half of the first half. Good to see number 8 back in there for the Mustangs. So far, she hasn't looked any worse for the wear, but we all know ankles can linger a little bit, and the fact that she's out there is a very encouraging sign. And if you're Nicole Nelson and the coaching staff, obviously you want to keep number 8 healthy, because she's so critically important to what they're trying to do this year.
Nice 1-2 out to the wing to King. Coming up the flank, chips it middle. She finds Byers, left-footed drive. It's a goal! Truth Byers. Justice to the upper 90, near post, and SMU has cut the lead in half.
We talked in the pregame about how Trinity Byers is the most decorated scorer in Texas history, and Truth Byers is making her first career start. And wouldn't it feel amazing for her to have a great performance against her big sister's team? SMU obviously is still trailing, but that goal has to feel amazing. And if you're part of the Byers family sitting in the crowd, how do you get a better night than tonight? So far, your daughters or sisters have scored 4 of the 6 goals in tonight's game.
An incredible night. Trinity the first 3 times. What does Truth have now that she's picked up her first? Truth Byers scored once last season as a freshman for SMU, and head coach Nicole Nelson said, hey, she's been close this season, hitting a couple crossbars, and that was about as well placed as you can be, measured up from the top of the 18, and she picked her spot. Good takeaway here by Texas, but a clearance from the middle of the field for SMU, and yet another rush. Here come the Mustangs. Nieves looking to get it into space. Salama trying to chase it down. Haugen did not touch it.
Yeah, Haugen just sort of escorting the ball over the end line. She knew number 9 was closing in quickly on her back, and did the wise thing and simply protected the ball, let it get out of bounds, and set up the goal kick for the Longhorns.
10 minutes gone in the second half. Again, SMU has the wind in the second half, and it is cutting across the field from the top right corner of your screen, if you will, to the bottom left corner of your screen. If you were to flatten things out, Rudden had eyes on Byers as she was making the move. Mia Justice is given up to King, the header, to get it down deep. Salama got knocked down, and there is a call. SMU will have an excellent chance with a free kick as Eliana Salama sticks her face in. Comes up with a free kick for the Mustangs.
Eliana Salama is usually one of the smaller players on the field and always one of the most fearless players on the field.
No, she just got hit with the ball.
She got hit with the ball, and I think that's what Madison Haugen was arguing. She didn't kick Salama. She kicked the ball, and Salama happened to be in the line of fire.
Now, Lou Brousseau took the first free kick, but she is not in the match. She can't take this one. So it's Nieves standing to the right and Ungashik standing to the left. Nieves steps it over, hands it back to Ungashik for the lilting drive. Just not enough on it.
Yeah, it made sense that Ungashik was the one shooting, because on the near side, on the left side of the offensive third, Ungashik, the right-footed shooter, had more of an angle to try to curl it in, but Justice wasn't fooled at all.
SMU doing a lot more pressing in the second half, Steve.
They are, and you see Eliana Salama there trying to sneak up on Justice, who got it away quickly. Justice, obviously enormously talented, but also a very poised veteran, cleared it calmly away for the Horns.
Been a more offensively poised shape for SMU in the second half. That's going to give Texas opportunities, though. Ashlyn Miller plays it across. Was that a handball? Evidently not. Abby Hampton nearly touched it with a paw. Instead is able to clear it.
Some of the UT fans in the crowd clearly thought it was. I'm not sure it wasn't. It looked like it hit Hampton in the leg and then bounced up into her arm.
Trinity Byers turns on it. She's already got 3 on the left foot. This one is blocked. Hummel and King combined to make sure it didn't get through.
Meanwhile, Mayu Inakawa getting up very slowly and favoring that left leg.
Salama trying to leg this one out. Haugen, a watchful eye, turns it back upfield, but it can't be held by Ashlyn Miller. Inakawa is stomping around, back on her 2 feet.
It's hard to tell exactly what was bothering her. She reached down toward her left ankle, and then she started stretching as if she had maybe a calf cramp. But the Mustangs captain, or co-captain, I think it'll take a little more than that to get her out of the lineup. She's a very, very tough player.
It was a 4-0 lead for Texas at one point. It's now 4-2. Texas looking for more. Out wide, Holly Ward with some space, but Hummel cuts it off. Ward dumps it back. Played to the top of the 6, but well offside. Jilly Shimkin was behind the defense as SMU brought that defensive line up. You see it right there. They walked it up to make the trap.
Yeah, they made the trap, and they did it so well. They actually had 2 players in an offside position. Shimkin and also Ashlyn Miller were both about 3 or 4 yards behind the entire SMU defense. And again, I've got my eye on Mayu Inakawa, who is still, after that last whistle, was still stretching out that left leg. I don't know if it's a calf. I don't know if she rolled an ankle. It's hard to tell. She's still in there.
She's the most valuable defensive player this season for SMU. There's no doubt about that. And Inakawa fit enough to stay on the field. And SMU needs her. Nicely popped into the air by King, and here comes Truth Byers again. Byers, a quick shot, and comes up wide. Truth Byers with another attack. She already has a goal in this half, her first in the regular season in her career, as SMU goes into the bench and gives Eliana Salama a rest. Emma Alvord will spell the 5'3" junior.
For Inakawa, I think it probably was a cramp because she just came running over to the bench, got some cold water, basically poured down the back of her neck, and then also drank a little, I don't know, pickle juice or something like that. The kind of supplement you take when you're trying to get through some cramps.
Still 94. We started at 98. Texas gives Trinity Byers. Exactly. With this breeze out of the southeast, my goodness. Where is my show? Trinity Byers sits down, and Avery Clark, who scored in the first half off an assist by Trinity Byers, is in. So far, Texas has not scored when it hasn't involved Trinity Byers, of course.
I will say selfishly that in the first half, in this beautiful press area at Washburn Stadium, A, we have shade over our heads, and B, we had the wind blowing into our face. It's still hot, but it was about as pleasant as it could be.
Emma Alvord stops on it. She's on her left foot, drives it across, bounced out. Nieves, the header, is down. Truth Byers out into space. Here's Eddie on the right foot, blocked. And Rudden backs it up to keep it in possession with SMU, down 4-2. Nieves back to the goal. Could not bring it in on that first touch and has it taken away by Lauren Lapamarda, the 5th-year senior from Prosper, about 35 miles to our north.
Liz Eddy, after that last shot, came up rubbing her, I think her right eye. I don't know if she may have gotten an inadvertent finger in the eye or something like that. She looks like she's okay now, but for just a few seconds there, she was tending to her eye.
How do you think Texas feels at this point? They're absolutely rolling. SMU scores off of a free kick from 19 yards out late in the first half, and then Truth Byers adds to the run with a goal of her own. How do you feel the Longhorns might be sitting in this game right now?
Maybe disappointed more than anything, because like you said, at 4, when they were up 4, everything they tried was working. And certainly you never want to give up a goal, but to allow a team that's young but athletic and kind of dangerous like the Mustangs, to allow them back in is not ideal. And the Horns certainly would love to score another one to try to stretch that margin back out. But when we talked to Angela Kelly during the week, we asked her about certain matchups and certain players, and her answer was almost the same every time. Like, she kept saying, we don't really think about their player or their scheme. We do what we do. And so to see a 4-goal lead cut in half, they're probably disappointed, and it wouldn't be surprising at all to see if they try to ratchet it up a little bit here and see what they can do to stretch that margin back out to at least 3.
Oh, a nice opportunity inside the box, but another offside. Avery Clark was out in front of the play, and even if she was on, Aubrey Brown had pounced on it.
Yeah, nice quickness by Brown. Avery Clark split a couple of defenders to get into the box, and she is a big target, but she was going 1-on-4 if you count Brown. So her chance was limited anyway, and by jumping the gun, she did get into an offside position, and that might have been the best thing because Brown was coming out hard and may have backed off just a little bit when she pounced on that ball.
A lot of balls through the middle for both sides in this match.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a few moments ago. It looks like the Mustangs have seen something in the Longhorns' back end that they feel like they can exploit with direct vertical balls through the defense rather than going side to side, switching fields.
This is a big takeaway. Liz Eddy straight on the drive, deflected out, and a corner coming for SMU after the Texas giveaway.
Maybe a place where Eddy could have a little bit more patience. She got excited, had the ball about 25 yards out, and she's already showed she's got a very strong shot. But there were 3 white shirts between her and Justice, and enough distance that even if it had not been deflected, Justice would have had plenty of time to get to it. I think if you're the Mustangs, you'd like to see Eddy just pause for a half a second, wait for a couple of reinforcements to arrive, and see if she can find a pass to create a closer shot.
It's a long jog for a lumbering Inakawa who has been dealing with some sort of knock, but she is running for the corner. Wind cutting in. Inakawa serves it. Good ball. Top of the 6. Punched out. And Byers runs it down for the SMU Mustangs. The Justice did a nice job to play it into a space where it could not be cleanly ricocheted. Byers is offsides.
That is the second corner kick tonight. That one and then one also in the first half where Justice sort of barged her way through the crowd and punched the ball clear for the Longhorns. But on both of them, I thought it was noticeable that Mackenzie Rudden climbed the ladder and got close. She didn't get ahead on it, but for someone who's got a bit of a tender ankle, to get that kind of elevation has to be very encouraging. She's clearly got some explosiveness still in those legs, and that can be a part of the Mustangs' plan on set pieces going forward.
Even into the wind, this is a really good drive. Oh, Inakawa goes down incredibly awkwardly and immediately grasps the right knee, checked on by the opponent Avery Clark. And concern for the SMU Mustangs center back. One of her knees, the right knee, buckled as she planted after trying to make a kick in the air. Watch.
Yeah, very awkward fall. You hope that's one that looks more dramatic than it is. It's never a good sign when one of her teammates looks to the bench and waves for medical attention to come out.
We'll step aside with number 12 Texas on top of the SMU Mustangs, 4-2 in Dallas.
Rated T for Teen.
These are dangerous times. The world here belongs to the syndicates. It's a big galaxy out there. And I'm gonna risk it all.
Star Wars Outlaws, available August 30th.
Welcome back to Dallas, and the injury stoppage continuing with Mayu Inakawa, the SMU center back, down. We've got one more alternate look as she went high on that left-footed clearing attempt and tried to plant on that right leg. Looked as though they were asking her if she wanted to try to walk off. But instead, she'll take the help. And Haley Hartman ready to come in.
Two things you hate to see is when teammates quickly ask for medical help, and then after an on-field analysis, if the player cannot put any weight at all on a foot, and have to rely solely on the assistance of people around her to get off the field. You hope this is not serious. Obviously, Inakawa is an enormously important piece of the defensive side for the Mustangs, not just for her technical skill, but she's the quarterback of that group. She gets everyone organized, gets everyone in the right place. She dictates matchups. So hopefully this proves to be not too significant for Mayu Inakawa.
And Texas is dealing with something similar on their back end as well, with MJ Cox, their center back, leaving their last game in the second half with a right knee injury. And of course, she missed all of last season with an ACL.
And we've talked about all the local players on this UT roster. MJ Cox went to Highland Park. It's about 5 minutes away, if that. She has friends and family here and would love, she would have loved to play in this game.
And her family hosted the Texas Longhorn team this afternoon. That was after Lexi Missimo hosted the team in her South Lake area home last night. So
it's good to know people.
No doubt. And Texas Longhorn head coach Angela Kelly made a point to tell us that this was a game she really wanted for her team, getting a chance, especially these seniors, to play as close to home as possible. When they were in the same conference with TCU, obviously they would on occasion get to play in Fort Worth. However, getting this game against SMU in Dallas really made a lot of sense from a ton of perspectives.
That's one of the really cool things that Coach Kelly does. She said she tries to schedule road games in or near the hometowns of some of her seniors. Some of these kids travel a long way to get to Austin to play their college soccer for the Longhorns, and she likes to reward them when she can by getting at least one game where their friends and family can come watch and cheer them on.
Now, thankfully for her, Texas has pretty much become Solar South, and the number of players that have come from that Solar Club team, which bases here out of North Texas, has gone down to play for the Longhorns, is well over a dozen now since Angela Kelly came to town, now in her 13th season as the head coach of Texas, and now back in the SEC as well, where she started her head coaching career. She was the head coach for 12 years at Tennessee. And she's back where it all began, so to speak. Meanwhile, the SMU Mustangs make their way in to the ACC. Kelly is a former UNC Tar Heel, of course. Multiple national championships to her credit under Anson Dorrance,
who just announced his retirement in Chapel Hill. How would you like to follow that guy? You're never supposed to follow the legend,
no,
right? You're supposed to follow the person who follows the legend.
Exactly. You're supposed to fail miserably after following the legend and then come in to clean it up.
21 national titles, I believe he has.
Incredible. Here's a chance on a cross for Missimo. It is right at the top of the six, cleared away by Rutten and SMU. And the Mustangs looking for a counter. Hata knows that she doesn't have every bit of the speed she needs, so she doubles back to recollect with 21 minutes to go in the second half, and SMU down by 2. A run for Liz Eddy, cutting to the middle. She is cut off by Brianna Thompson, who played her club ball not with Solar, but with the Dallas Texans. Oh, Trinity Byers is in, looking for 4. Trinity on her left foot with the keeper out, slots it middle, and coming back is Hata to clear it away.
If I'm Angela Kelly, that is one of the plays that I point out when they watch video of this game, because here is the leading goal scorer in the country among active players. She already has 3 with her friends and family in the stands, and the goalkeeper is 20 yards out of the goal, and she passed to a teammate who had a better shot. That is such an unselfish play by Trinity Byers. That is a play that if I'm the coaching staff, I am highlighting all day.
And a nice slide tackle by Sophie King. And Villarreal was the one to actually slide it into touch. So a goal kick for SMU instead of a corner. Under 20 to play in the second half. Again, Texas scored the first 4 goals. Since then, SMU has put a pair up. They are looking for more, trying to make the Longhorns sweat. Now, Texas has never won here in Dallas, as this foul call goes against SMU. 3-0-2 are the Mustangs against Texas, including matching up the last time a couple seasons back in 2021 in the postseason, the first round of the NCAA tournament against Texas, and SMU was able to come away with a 2-1 victory in that one. It's a hydration break for the final time here in Dallas, with the Texas Longhorns on the verge of going to 3-0 on the season, trying to protect this 2-goal lead against the homestanding Mustangs.
Go, ready for play now.
The pasta taste you love with the energy you want. Barilla Protein Plus.
Whoa, likelihood to win, 2%.
Bring it, James Blake.
You still want me to bring it?
The surf.
A battle of Power 4 programs in Dallas. SMU, one of the newest teams in the ACC, trying to make a big comeback against one of the newest teams in the SEC, the Texas Longhorns. Number 12, Texas, looking to start 3-0, and it would be their best start since 2017, pre-Trinity Byers and Lexi Missimo era, when they started 11-0-0. Byers has 3 goals in this one and an assist for the Texas Longhorns. That ties her career high. That 5th hat trick of her career. She's the active career leader with 51 goals in her career. Little transposition of her number. Meanwhile, for the SMU Mustangs, they've gotten back into the game with a couple goals, one by Rousseau and one by Truth Byers. Here's a run for Missimo. Eyes on the goal, but the left-footed drive is swatted down by Haley Hartman, who ran stride for stride with one of the best players in the country.
And you pointed out that these two programs, obviously now in Power 4 conferences, there was a time they were in the same conference back in the old Southwest Conference days. Of course, that was long before any one of these players was even born.
Missimo. And it is punched around by Aubrey Brown. I believe she got a paw on it. And it will be a throw-in, yes, for Texas.
She got enough of it to just redirect it, but she certainly didn't change the direction a whole lot.
Missimo with all kinds of space. This is a playmaking opportunity for one of the best players in the country. Drifts right, drives it on the ground. Brown steers it away, and King is there to clear.
Yeah, Brown's got to be thrilled that number 25 came in to clean up, because Brown stretched out and made sure it didn't find the back of the net. But she left a juicy rebound sitting out there, and if the Longhorns had a right wing in the vicinity, it could have been a follow-up shot, but King was there to clear it out for SMU.
Something happened to Nieves, and she just stopped on the play. Brothers comes in, and it will be an SMU ball here, but Nieves kind of got just smacked in the side of the face and gave up possession. Under 18 minutes left to play. Substitutions come for the SMU Mustangs as they look to make that last push. Frankly, both teams look a little tired at this point in the game. Certainly that would favor a Texas side that is trying to hold off this SMU team. Laura Hummel, who started the second half at an outside back spot, comes to the bench, and we have not seen Paxton Bach in the second half of this matchup. I did not. Obviously, in the first half, she had a head-to-head matchup with Carly Montgomery in the air, re-entered the game. Have no idea if that's the reason something happened at halftime where she wasn't able to re-enter, but she's not in.
She's not, but she is on the bench, and she's up and standing with her teammates. We're not going to pretend to be doctors diagnosing from up here. I don't know if that, as you said, we don't know if that's the reason she's not in. Montgomery came back in with a big wrap around her head, but I believe she has ditched that in the second half.
SMU with an offensive throw-in, and as they get a chance, they'll bring Eliana Salama back in. That playmaking forward comes into the left wing spot, and Alvord heads to the bench. SMU will also get the freshman back in, Lydia Ungashik, at a holding midfield spot for the JUCO transfer, Nanami Hata. 16 minutes left in Dallas. SMU has sliced a 4-goal lead down to 2. And the Longhorns hold them off for yet another win this season, but their first ever here in Dallas. Aubrey Brown has had a clean sheet in the second half. Awkwardly at times, but Brown acquitting herself fine. Drive up the middle of the field. Salama knocks it down, and a really good play to take it away by Ariana Brothers, the sophomore. And a offside is called here on Texas. An aggressive pass toward Trinity Byers, and Byers was offside by a nick.
And she was off to the races. You saw a couple of SMU defenders giving chase. But Byers, when she ran onto that ball, she did have a step or two of separation. It was going to be one-on-one between Byers and Brown.
So SMU with the possession, a vertical ball, and it drips through to the onrushing Mia Justice. She was number 98 on the preseason Top Drawer Soccer 100, one of the best keepers in the land. SMU can't keep this one. As the wind continues to gust, it has done nothing but get more and more windy as the night has gone on. And again, this wind in the second half favors SMU as time starts to run out on the Mustangs. Nieves comes in, and she puts Kelly Gordon back on the bench.
And yes, that clock is ticking, but it's clear that Nicole Nelson and the SMU staff are not ready to head to the locker room and throw in the towel on this one. Sammy Nieves has returned. Eliana Salama has returned. There are a lot of starters who did get to rest for a few minutes who are back in the lineup.
And SMU changing their shape as well to a single center back. Hampton is out there. And what they're really doing is drifting Sophie King into an attacking position from her fullback spot. It also started that throw-in with, it almost looked like two attacking center forwards in Byers and Salama. But, you would expect SMU to advance their shape to an offensive mindset down here by 2 goals.
And this won't be the only time that you see King in that sort of position. It won't be something that SMU does just when the Mustangs are trailing, because she is both fast and left-footed, and she is able to get around defenders and then give really nice serve from the left side. She's playing in that wing-back role that some coaches call it, where, yes, she has defensive responsibilities and she's very capable in the defensive end, but she's also more than capable of getting forward and contributing to the offense.
Angashik doubles back to take the ball away from Trinity Byers. And here's King on the wing. Slots it inside for Salama. Trying to make that quick dribble. Salama pulled down, and there's a foul and a card as well. Going against Madison Haugen, the transfer from Georgia, where she was a 4-year starter. And the foul just outside the 18.
Madison Haugen pleading her case. But you see their arms get hooked, and then she got a fistful of Eliana Salama's jersey.
I think the jersey gave it away.
Yeah, it was nothing egregious, but it's kind of, I mean, especially at that spot in the field when Salama's about a step away from getting into the penalty area, you yank a player down, you almost can't get away with no call.
It's the first card on either side. Lou Brousseau comes on to take the penalty here, or rather than the penalty, of course, the free kick. She had a free kick with the left foot in the first half that she put into the goal. What will she do with it from the left side here, using her right foot? Brousseau knocked down. It's on the ground. A toe poke in, and right at the keeper, Justice, to keep it in a 2-goal match.
You know, Haugen objected to that yellow card, and I think the only reason it came out was because Salama had a step in front of her. If they had been side by side, it probably would have been just a whistle, there's a foul, okay, you restart. But the fact that Salama was on her way into the box with a step advantage, then it became a takedown from behind, and I think you had to pull the card.
SMU's played better in the second half, but it might be too little too late tonight. Villarreal trying to help put it away, but Salama is able to thieve it. A long vertical ball, and Truth Byers will have to run it down into the corner and try for a takeaway, and Byers is able to nip it away. King on the serve. Into the feet of Brothers, but backed up by Ungashek. And again, Salama trying to go down, and once more it is a foul on Texas. A free kick on the way, thanks to Amalia Villarreal. Second game of our doubleheader here on ACC Network Extra is coming up at 8:30 Central Time. The SMU Mustang men's soccer team taking on Air Force, again, right here on ACC Network Extra. Brousseau trying to go near side again, and that one just curls around the post and out. SMU trying to make it a one-goal game.
You mentioned a moment ago how hot it is and how both teams look pretty tired, understandably. After that last run where Truth Byers came down and was able to get a steal and regain possession for SMU, she then bent over at the waist and started stretching what looked like maybe a little tightness in one of her hamstrings. So it's not uncommon for that to happen when you get hot, muggy nights like tonight. And it's something that for the next 11 and a half minutes, we're going to have to watch for both teams going forward.
Aubrey Brown trying to be aggressive in the distribution with 11 minutes left. SMU in a more desperate position with each and every waning moment, down by 2 goals here in Dallas. Some space for the Longhorns. 5 on the attack, out to Villarreal. Villarreal! Goal! One touch and a right-footed drive. The first of many for one of the top freshmen in the nation. And Texas puts it away 5-2.
And for Brown, that shot was probably a little tougher than it may have looked on TV, because that looked like it was almost a knuckleball, as if there was maybe no spin, or at least very little spin. And when a ball has pace on it and no spin, it wobbles, just like a baseball. When you throw a knuckleball in baseball, it'll wobble and dance a little bit, and you're never quite sure where it's going to go. Brown stretched out, got a hand on it, I think, or a fingertip on it. But terrific shot by Villarreal.
First goal of her career. She's a player who played with Solar SC, although she's from a different part of the country in Michigan. And for the Longhorns, she makes it 5-2 and shows off why she has one of the best boots out there. Long ball over the top, coming out to challenge. It's an open goal, and the chip by Brousseau is way over the top. A gorgeous opportunity for Brousseau, but she caught it on the short hop and skies it.
She did, and when you see the goalkeeper come 15 yards out of the goal and be way out of position like that, it's so easy for an offensive player to get way too excited. And what feels like it should be just a simple chip shot, it's easy to airmail one into the parking garage at the north end of Washburn Stadium. She didn't send it that far, but she did get too much of it.
A half volley, and it was on its way back up. It's always difficult to deal with those. A lot harder than it looks. So it's a 3-goal margin. Salama's called for being the aggressor this time, pulling down Haugen.
That matchup between Salama and Haugen has been a really nice subplot in the game tonight. Two very good players.
Well, for Texas, not only was this a great opportunity to get all these seniors who, lived here and played for Solar and all those sorts of things, that chance, that taste of home in their senior year. I mean, it's also a quality, what seems to be a road win at this point, because for the SMU Mustangs, they will run through a gauntlet once they get through conference play. And that strength of schedule, no matter how good the Mustangs prove to be at the end of the season, this is going to be a quality win for the Texas Longhorns.
Agreed. The schedule that SMU plays will help the teams they play against. Because as you said, when you start talking about Florida State and North Carolina and Stanford and all these other national elite teams, every team that manages to find a win against SMU, that helps.
I mean, they're going to play the top 2 teams in the nation here in Dallas this season, FSU and Stanford. Mia Justice able to bring it in. Let's talk the second half for SMU. What do you think Nicole Nelson found out about her team as they got down by 4 goals and mounted a comeback, albeit one that's going to come up short?
I think she has to be pleased, right? You've got a lot of young players. We've talked about all the freshmen who have played significant roles. We've got a couple of players, key players, who have been injured. Mayu Inakawa got hurt tonight. Mackenzie Rudden working her way back from an injury.
Watch out! And on the backside, Byers not quite able to keep it in. And they are going to call this a corner here and say it was last touched by SMU. Byers there on the back post after Missimo played a nice little through ball. And Holly Ward went over the top looking to give Trinity Byers her 4th.
I think it would have been very easy for a team to go into the locker room down 3 goals against a nationally ranked Texas team and just sort of put their heads down and say, oh, no, this isn't our night. But clearly, the Mustangs didn't have that attitude, and it kind of felt like a team that said, okay, we've absorbed their punch, and we're still standing.
Oh, what a pass by Salama. The drive and a great save as Liz Eddy tried to go near post, and Nia Justice meets her with a great save.
That may be Justice's best save of the night. Beautiful low shot by Eddy after, as you said, gorgeous pass by Eliana Salama. And Justice didn't flinch. It was a near post shot when a lot of people might have tried to go to the far post where there's more room. And Justice took a step to her left, went to the ground, and just swallowed it up. Beautiful save by Mia Justice.
SMU playing quickly, down by 3. Nieves has it blocked, knocked down, but a fair play as Brothers sweeps it away. Byers up the wing, showing off that speed. A pull by SMU, but still an advantage for Texas. Byers goes all the way across, finds Missimo, had that heavy first touch, and Ungashik takes it away.
Yes, it was a pull by SMU, but it was also a pull by Texas. Byers had a handful of Hartman's jersey as well, I guess as a way of trying to maintain her step advantage. Hartman was hanging on, trying to pull Byers back to her. So I think the uproar you heard through the microphones from the crowd was probably fans from both sides who thought that the other team clearly should have been whistled for a very serious crime.
I'm sure Hartman and Byers along the way have had those track meets to see who was faster. Not only as teammates, but obviously they've had to do it on the field several times in their careers as well.
Yeah, think about the training sessions they've had together.
Salama looking to dribble in. That's a really nice play by the freshman to not fall for any of the antics. Villarreal coming off of the goal, punches it away, and then with a rejection on King as well to send it into touch. Villarreal has looked good in the last 5 minutes.
Villarreal has looked very good tonight. I mean, you've talked about her pedigree that she brought with her when she arrived in Austin. And she certainly has not done anything to cast any doubt on any of that. She's a very, very talented player.
Salama picks the pocket of Haugen, turns inside, drives it middle. And a seeing eye save for Mia Justice, who starts the other way with the distribution out to Jilly Shimkin.
Justice able to make that save. It was from distance and right at her. But to your point, her outlet throw was so quick.
Oh, this one gets through for Shimkin, but Hampton backs it up. Still, it's settled down. A quick move, and the shot in by Missimo is eliminated by SMU's Aubrey Brown, who has limited Texas to 1 goal in the second half after a 4-goal first half for the Longhorns. But another takeaway for Texas, starting to hunt for that 6th of the night, looking to match what they had against the Mustangs last year in Austin.
You mentioned that Brown had a couple of moments early in the second half that were a little bit adventurous, but I think overall she has acquitted herself quite well. The Mustangs have 4 goalkeepers this year, all of whom have played already. And they're all either 5'10 or 5'11. Clearly, they're recruiting with the basketball team.
Now here comes Missimo, chipping it across, and the touch for the goal. It's a 4-goal night for Trinity Byers. For the first time in her career, Byers hangs 4 on an opponent, and Texas goes up 6-2. This will be reviewed, but for now, Byers has her 4th.
Beautiful one-time serve into the box between, I believe, a couple of SMU defenders who are very close to each other. And you see her getting forward, and, you know, I think you can make an argument that she's offside. And but if they call that, everybody wearing orange and white in the stands is going to lose their minds.
A haul for Trinity Byers for the first time in her career. And tonight, Washburn Soccer and Track Stadium becomes Dallas Byers Club.
All right, that's your best one yet. 5 Byers goals tonight.
And 4 of them by Trinity. As she crosses the 50-goal plateau, up to 52 in her career. There they are.
I'm guessing we spotlighted the right pair of players in the pregame show, didn't we?
You know, sometimes you just make the right call, don't you? Eliana Salama, what a goal! Offense show up tonight. Eliana Salama scores for the 2nd time this season, and that's the best one yet.
That was a beautiful shot. I wonder if Justice may have even thought Eliana Salama was looking for someone at the back post.
Not often is Justice going to smile after one, but
that is a gorgeous goal.
Nothing you can do.
No. Nobody is making that save. It had the altitude, but then it also had that little outside in or inside out spin that made it fade away from Justice over her shoulder. Gorgeous goal by Salama.
A lot of great offensive moments for both sides. Some defensive moments to be looked at in the post game as well for these two teams. But it's been a very entertaining match with 9 total goals. And Salama is rewarded for some hard work on a hot night. Eliana Salama earned that one, not only with her work in that moment, but for the rest of the evening as well.
Yeah, we mentioned a moment ago that one of the best matchups in this game tonight has been between Hagen and Salama. They've been going at it for most of the 90 minutes, and both of them playing very, very well. And for Salama to go through a night like that against a player like Hagen, getting a goal, yes, it's too little too late, but it has to feel really good.
The clock will run. A foul is given. Under 2 minutes to play.
The yellow card, I think, was awarded to Lydia Ungashik.
Look at me.
And the restart will come near the far sideline. With Texas looking to continue to be offensive. Missimo goes middle. Ungashik clears it. Full clearance. Out near midfield now with a little over a minute left. Yes, the yellow card does go to Lydia Ungashik. As Texas turns it, Miller finds it out into space. Here's Missimo offside. Texas is one of those teams that's got a chance to lead the nation in offside calls this season, as aggressive as they are on the offensive end.
Well, yeah, they've got 6 goals tonight, the Longhorns do, and clearly they don't think that's enough. 40 or 50 seconds left, and here they are pressing the issue, creeping into an offside position, trying to find the extra point after that touchdown.
Not only looking for the win, they'd also love to have some more style points. already number 12 in the nation. Going to 3-0 for the first time since 2017, and many more wins to come for Angela Kelly's team that brought back 11 returning starters off last year's squad.
And by the way, Angela Kelly is 15 seconds away from career victory number 297, I think it is.
It's 298, yeah.
And when we asked her about it the other day, she said she wasn't even aware that she was getting the milestone. Their SID said we were going to surprise her when she gets number 400, so sorry for ruining that.
300 is on the way for Angela Kelly in the next couple weeks. But today it's a 6-3 final. Number 12 Texas comes to Dallas and picks up their first ever win at SMU. A final of 6-3. And it is Avery Clark getting the game-winning goal in this one for the second
That's true. You said it might not be the winner.
But it is the winner tonight. Congratulations to Texas. The Longhorns now go back home as the Byers sisters have a chance to play each other. 4 goals on the left, 1 on the right. So for Steve Lansdale and our entire crew, this is John Little. You've been watching this game presented by the ACC and ESPN. All games airing on the ACC network or streaming live and archived on the ESPN app as well. Final score, number 12 Texas takes down SMU 6-3. Good night.